Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here. Okay, a couple of things before we get to Scrappiness is Happiness, which is a super fun, super small block for today. First, I've hung up the giveaway quilt. This is the quilt that will go to somebody when we reach 90,000 subscribers. And I'm putting it up today because we have bumped over past 88,000 subscribers. So I'm celebrating. I pinned on with my unicorn pin for good luck onto this gorgeous little plaque that was sent to me when we got to 85,000. See, it's got the little YouTube symbol. So, okay, so I'm channeling this for the next 2,000. We have to get, well, there's actually a few, I think we're at 88,111 or something like that. So once we get to 90,000, I will pick a name for this quilt to go to a new home. It could be you or you or you. So if you have friends that have not subscribed, or if you are watching this and you have not subscribed yet, click the button, tell everybody. Hey, it's free to subscribe and you get the notifications. You can find my channel easily. Lots of good, and you support me by doing that. So, mwah, mwah, mwah. Okay, I'm going to do a really quick mail call right here because it's so fun. Okay, my friend Beth, who I've known for such a long time, even got to teach at her guild. So Beth sent me a beautiful Christmas card. Look at that. Look at that snowflake. Doesn't that look like something you could quilt? Yeah, I think so. You can tell Beth picks her cards by the quilting snowflakes. And then, Beth is in Illinois. And Joan from North Carolina sent me this beautiful card. Can you see the trees in relief there? That is so cool. And they actually are a little bit raised. And this last one is from Evelyn and Tina, and they are in North Carolina. And Tina is Evelyn's the mom, Tina's the daughter, and Evelyn told me that Tina loves a lot of the same things I do, including Alice in Wonderland. So they've watched a bunch of the different Alice in Wonderland movies. I know there's several out there, and they really loved this version and sent me a copy. I am very excited to watch this. It's been a long time since I've watched the Alice in Wonderland movie, any of the movie versions. And so this, I'm not sure when it is. It's got a copyright on here of 1985, but it could be a bit older. In it is Sammy Davis Jr., Red Buttons, Beau Bridges, and Steve Allen wrote the songs that are in here. So I am thrilled. So you can see a few of the pictures of the people. So I am going to pop that in and watch it because, so cool, so fun. And I want to do a big shout out, a special shout out. I got an email from the family of Joy B in Alabama. And today is Joy's 70th birthday, and her family is so excited for her to have a beautiful, wonderful birthday celebration, and they know that she watches the videos every day. And so, Joy, happy birthday there in Alabama. I hope you have a wonderful time over with your family today, and you have a really wonderful time. They were so cute to write me and ask me to do this. So there we go. Everybody shout out to Joy for her 70th birthday, which they said was okay to say. Mwah. All right, let's look at our block. We are in the Scrappiness is Happiness Sew Along, the Fat Quarter Shop Sew Along, using a book by Lori Holt. And Lori's sewing them, of course. But each block, I am using Bev McCullough's fabric line and then adding in little parts of my own. And today's block is the plaid block. So there it is in a full quilt. And what we're going to do is go to the other side, because here is mine. I'm going to show it to you now. And there's just so many ways you could work with this and different fabric combinations I could have picked. And I want to explain how some of the options and what I thought about doing. So let's go to the other side. This is a great scrappy block, and I really like the way it was put into a full quilt. So let's take a look at the options I had and thought about for my block. One of the things to note is that for mine, I am doing some of the backgrounds and the sashings all in this. This block doesn't have any background to me. The block is these 4 squares and then this little sashing. And this sashing I do not want to be this blue. I don't want it to sort of like almost like fall into the quilt. It would look like there was just 4 blocks. So my sashing will be something that complements the squares. Now in the big quilt here, I'm just flip it over, you can see how Lori did all of the blocks as one color, and then the sashing as a light, or it looks like they're all mostly whites, off whites. So I'm not going to necessarily follow that, but I want to look at what I have. So I was looking at a couple of the larger prints for the squares. And my palette is very narrow, and I'm sort of tossing in here and there some other fabrics, which is the scrappy part for me on this particular project. So if I did 4 squares, if this was, opened up, like this would just be 4 squares, then I would have to look at some sashing for it. So, I could do something like the aqua. I could certainly do the white. That would be very much like the block, which would look fine. But then I thought, well, what if I did this aqua, like this particular piece? This is Bev's from Flamingo Toes fabric line. Look at that. I love that. But if I did that, I could do the white. I could also I could do a yellow sashing. That would be really cute, like this. But let's see, what else? There's all kinds of options. That's the really neat part about this particular block. Okay, so if I had a different, this would be pretty much the same. This or this. But then I thought, what if I brought this stripe back in? Because I haven't used that stripe again. So what if I did the yellow and then did the stripe as the sashing? And I'm like, oh yes, that is it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And then what about the corner? I could just there's a little corner square. I could sort of fussy cut. It's not very big, so I could sort of fussy cut this hexagon out of this particular one. Maybe the dark hexagon. That would be kind of cute. Okay, so I think I'm good. This is what I'm going to go with, and I will cut that up. But before I do that, and because we're here on the back table, I want to show you something else that is in progress and see what you think. So let me just move these out of the way a second. Okay, so the other thing I have back here is some binding options for the Jolly Box presents. So it's not finished quilting, but it's close. So here is my zigzag stitch, or the wave stitch rather, the wave stitch done vertical, top to bottom. And I'll lay this down here and I'll just tell you how I approach that. So here's the backing that I went with. I did that sort of white, it's white with green, different shades of green and size of dots that I had in my stash. It was just enough. So that green, I thought about this white for the binding, but that doesn't look right. I don't care for it. I'll show you that. So let's take a look at what my options are. And I'll tell you first, let me just tell you first how I approached. I'm using the same silver as I did for the other quilt. It just was in there, so I used the same thread, this sort of silvery gray thread. Okay, so when I'm quilting this one, what I decided to do was just first start on the outside present. Here, this one, and then on the other side, over here. So the very outside presents I did. And then there's a seam. So that's the seam, right? So then I did this seam on the other side of the present. So I did either side of the present, and then I did either side of the middle present. And then from that point, I'm sort of gauging that the distance here is not identical across all three. It's not identical, but it's really darn close. And because it's a wave, your eye is very forgiving. And so I just sort of marked off that I was going to come through that bow at a particular place on each one. About half an inch from the point. But basically I just put a couple of straight pins. And you could do painter's tape or something, but remember this is a wave, so you can't like just stitch right next to the painter's tape, so you have to offset it if you're doing that. So I just find, because it's a wave and it's very forgiving, I just eyeball it, or I just sometimes stick a few pins where I'm going, so I'm sort of sewing to that pin and then pulling it out. So I've done 2 in here, and I've done these 2. Now I have to do these 2. And then after that, I will go ahead And on, let's see, so here, on here, I will do the wave stitch on this side of that seam, and then, because then that'll sort of lock down there, and then I'll do right down the middle on the border, and that's it. So I really only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only have 6 more of these to do, and then binding. So let's take a look at the binding options, because I don't have any of this fabric. So, you know, I just had the charm packs, and so I have to use my own fabric. So let me pull the batting back. So I have this diagonal stripe, which is kind of cute. And you know, I always like stripes, so everything I'm showing you is a stripe. So I don't know, I wasn't like totally in love with it though. I don't know why. Maybe because there's already this stripe and this one that it didn't seem to really go with it. So okay, so that one was like, what else do I have? So I have my own Morrison Park, which is a pink, and of course there's pink in here. It's got a red line, so it's pink, red, and then other shades of pink. So I thought, well, that would be a really good option. Let me just see how it looks. And I do like that one. I do like that one. And then I found another one. So let's see. This was an older line called Sunday Stroll, and it's pink. Let me just show you. It's pink with a red line. And I thought, ooh, it has a wider spacing than my Morrison Park. And so I'm like, yeah, I think that's it. What do you think? Do you like that one? Do you like that one? Let me know if you prefer the red diagonal or my Morrison Park. Let me know in the comments. So this is this project ready to get done. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the other side of the table. I'm going to put it up here. Remember, these are not in any order like the layout, so you know, check the layout to see. We can't really sew anything together yet, but you know, I don't even know if we have the layout yet. I can't remember. Probably not, because Fat Quarter Shop usually puts that out towards the end. But there is the yellow block, and I just am having so much fun adding in just a little bit to make it more scrappy than the original line, and using that denim-y blue background. Yes. So on my quest to show you something Christmassy that I've made, Christmas quilts or whatever, mug rugs, today I have my Will You Be My Neighbor back from the quilter. So I'm going to show you a quilted. It doesn't have the binding on it yet, but it's going to count for today's, because she wanted to get it back to me in December, and she managed to do that. Look. There it is, all quilted. I'll stand back. I'll show you the quilting up front then. I used my black and white Harmony wide back for the backing. Now we picked a sort of a feathery and a star, like it's a modern feather. It's kind of like a swoopy feather. I think you can see it here. It's a swoopy feather and then a star. I'm just going to hold that house up there. So can you see the star? And then, you know, it swoops out from there as a feather. And these are kind of random across the surface, which I love that design. Now this, as you can see, the fabrics really hide the quilting. You don't really see the pattern that much in a quilt like this, where the fabrics are really what it's all about. But it gives it nice texture. And I have the binding already done. And I put it on. We got these in one of the Jolly samplers, whatever they call it, sew samplers. the turquoise boxes, the solid sew sampler boxes. Oh my goodness. Okay. You know what I mean. So I just wrap the binding around. Now I could take another binding and wrap it around here for another project, and then keep those together so I could find them. I just thought these were so cute. These they're an acrylic binding holder. So that's how I use mine. Very fun. I have, one more thing before I do. I'm going to do some Q&A. I didn't do it the other day, so I've got it today. But here's a picture of Norm and Nanette lake house. Gina Tell, if you didn't get a chance to see her visit with Norm and Nanette, visiting her, and how she said they were talking about lake house. Well, this is the lake house now that is going to be traveling with them from now on, so they take it with them. So someday they'll get back to Texas there and live in their lake house. So cute. questions, Q&As. I need to do more of these because you ask questions in various places, like a lot of places, and I try to answer them. And sometimes the questions are things that really would be great for other people to hear, or might be interesting for other people to hear. So let's do it. Joy asks, how often do I clear out my bins? You know, the project bins. Well, I try to clear a project bin out when the project's done. So we just did Hometown Charms, and the project was finished, so I emptied the bin out. You know, when this project is done, fairly soon afterwards, I will empty the bin out. I don't really wait because I need the bins. So that's pretty much my process for emptying project bins. Mimi asks, what is my go-to batting? And this is a question I've been asked a lot over the years, and I am not a person that just has one batting. I have used many, many battings. I kind of like to see how they work, and some of them have different properties than other ones. And so I like the batting at the Fat Quarter Shop. I like an 80-20 batting. I've been using the Hobbs 80-20. That's what this is here. This one, I use that a lot with the long armors. I've used Mountain Mist 100% cotton, which gives a really crinkly quilt when you're done. It has to be quilted closer, but it's a very old-fashioned bat, and I love that one. So there's lots of good ones. Paula asks, after watching YouTube videos for so long and seeing so many of your beautiful quilts, thank you. I just noticed you've never used batiks. Well, actually, you probably need to go back further than you have been watching because I have used batiks. I actually have a quilt coming out in American Patchwork and Quilting magazine later in 2023, which is all batiks. When my fabric line was with Moda, my fabric line was half cotton and half batik, so I have used batiks a lot. So Mary asks, she missed where I get the totes, the project bins. Like, what do I have? I have one back here, don't I? Yeah. Oh, it's covered up and stuff. Hold on. Yeah, so she asked where I get these project bins. So I'll put a link at my website today for the project bins. These are my favorite bins. They stack really nice. They fit up on they fit in my shelf. They're lightweight. I like this depth. They do come deeper, but I don't prefer the deeper one because I find for most projects, like 90% of them, this is deep enough. That means that other half is wasted. If I had it, and instead I can stack more and have more project bins. So I prefer that depth, and that's the one that I'll link you to. Okay, Sandra says, do I store my novelty prints in a separate place than the regular prints? And it's like, no. For the most part, everything is together except for Christmas, and after I split bundles apart, like a fabric line, after I split it apart, everything goes by color. You know, so it's blue, it's yellow, it's pink, it's in those bins. I do keep the Christmas together, and as you saw the other day, that was the Christmas. But there isn't any other collection that is kept together unless it's together for a project. Like I have a lot of travel fabrics together at the moment because I was thinking of using them in some kind of project a way back, and I have just never done that project and never taken them out of the bin. So, and then somebody named Quilter, that'd be like a lot of you, asked, what do I mean when I say my fabrics were mushy? That mushy, what does that sound like? It sounds like it's sort of, they're blending. They're blending, they're mushy, they're too much similar. They're too similar to each other, so they're blending together. You're not seeing a strong definition of the fabric line, wherever that, whatever I was talking about at the time I said that word. There was, if it's too mushy, it means it's all very blendy. You're not seeing your things distinctly. You might be losing images, losing the shape of the block because the fabrics just sort of blend right into each other. So it's another word for blend, I guess, but more negative. Don't mean to sound that way, but that's what it is. Mushy to me is not good. I rarely want things to be mushy. I might want them to be blendy. That might be a look, but I don't really want them to mush. I don't want them to get like, It's sort of like putting too many colors together with paint and it turns into brown. Yuck, you know, like that isn't the look you were going for. All right, my friends, you are going to do your little plaid block today. This is so cute and it's really fun. It would make, I would make that whole quilt, you know, because it's so cute. And it would keep you would keep interesting because all the fabrics would be different. Yeah, so that would be super fun. All right, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. Be sure you subscribe. I'll see you online.